Napoli have a rich history of signing Argentinian players, most notably club legend Diego Maradona. But they've also had players like Gonzalo Higuain and Ezequiel Lavezzi, which is why star Argentinian players just like Alejandro Garnacho are so drawn to the Napoli project to go and join some of their icons. So today we are doing an Argentinian-only Napoli rebuild to see if we can take the club to Champions League glory, making only Argentinian signings on Football Manager 2024. Now for this rebuild, I have simmed through the first season already to get us up to real life, where we are going to be starting now from the 5-year timer to see if we can make this challenge possible. And the best thing is, we start off in Champions League football thanks to a top 4 finish. Of course, this was all done by Antonio Conte. I had absolutely nothing to do with it. This does mean that we have a complete clean slate and are able to get rid of some players that aren't going to fit the bill. Someone like Kempi, who's already left in real life to join PSG, we are going to be able to sell for upwards of £100 million. Romelu Lukaku, the Belgium, at 31 years of age, and of course Victor Osimhen at £60 million value. We're looking at potentially raising £200 million in just 3 players. Now, unlike some of our other rebuilds, we are not going to be doing a straight Argentinian from the start because, quite frankly, there would be no one in this first 11. As things stand, as I record this video on the 27th of January, there is no Argentinian players in the Napoli squad. However, they have been heavily linked with my star boy and Manchester United player Alejandro Garnacho, hence we are sort of doing this rebuild. So I've set up the scouting so we can go out there and find the best Argentinian players in the world at under 8, under 21 level and ready for the first team. Of course, so far, not a lot of budget, so let's sell them 3 stars. Victor Osimhen has left the club to join Bayern Munich for £66 million. That's not a bad strike partnership there. Kvaratskhelia left to join Arsenal for £68 million. And Romelu Lukaku left us to join Manchester United again, where we, of course, signed Alejandro Garnacho in a part exchange deal of £60 million plus Lukaku to get Garnacho over the line. Quite expensive, especially given Lukaku has smashed it in real life at Napoli. But Garnacho is an Argentinian wonder kid with 5 caps to the national team at 20 years of age, and it's sort of the whole point of doing this rebuild. It was always going to be expensive, but we have our man. The striker to replace Lukaku up front is Matteo Retegui, and I know what you're thinking, he's Italian. He has got partial Argentinian nationalities to him, so we are allowing that as the striker up here. 14 finishing, 14 composure, great physical stats, great determination, and actually grew up playing in Argentinian football until 2023, where he was signed by Atalanta, where in this save, 14 goals in 33 games. So for £23 million, it's an absolute bargain. And this is a guy I actually had my eye on for quite a while because I wanted him at United when he was still playing in Argentina. Fantastic young talent, now 25 years of age with extreme consistency. As a backup right back to captain Giovanni Di Lorenzo, I have signed Agustin Gia from Palmeiras. And for our starting left back position, I've spent the big bucks of bringing star wonder kid Valentin Barco to the club from Brighton. A very good loan spell out at Sevilla, worth £35 million. We spent 30. He's consistent, absolutely rapid, and loves to whip a ball in. And believe it or not, after all that, we were absolutely spent. £18 million left in the bank, but going negative in our wage budget. So our team was complete in this beautiful 4-3-3 system that I've created for Napoli, with 2 incredibly attacking wing-backs, with Valentin Barco on the left-hand side and Lorenzo on the right-hand side. Mere starting off in goal with Buongiorno and Ramirani as our 2 centre-backs. Zango and Giza is our DM to start things off, with a Scottish duo of Billy Gilmore and Scott McTominay in midfield. Garnacho off the left flank with roam from position, sit narrower and tackle harder. Raspadori off the right flank and Matteo Retegui up front as the complete forward on attack. We are set to a positive mentality in position. We are going down wide, high tempo, and being aggressive and running at that defence, countering, counter-pressing, and of course, high line, high press, getting stuck in that true Argentinian attacking, aggressive football. For this season, we are of course in the Italian Serie A, the Champions League, the Italian Cup, and the Italian Super Cup, and I have eyes on lifting a couple of trophies this season. We are the third favourites for the Italian Serie A at 15-2 behind the two Milan sides. Let's see if we can top it either and win this title. And with the formation we had cooked up had made our front three so deadly because of our incredibly attacking wingbacks. An early penalty in our game here against Udinese led us to a 1-0 lead thanks to Garnacho. The attacking right wingback though of Di Lorenzo whipping it in to find Retegui in the box. Barco with a corner, Retegui again with that head, making it 3 and a 4-0 victory, just showing how attacking and aggressive this tactic was as Di Lorenzo drives into the box, goes solo to eventually find Raspadori. And our form was actually very, very good this season. There wasn't too many games that we lost, and through the months of November and December, only lost one game in the Champions League to Manchester City. Alejandro Garnacho had a pretty good first season with 19 goal contributions, and Retegui absolutely smashed up front with 27 goals, 2 assists in 45 games. But sadly, it was a trophyless year as we come 4th in the table and 72, knocked out in the round of knockout playoff against Bayer Leverkusen in the Champions League, quarter-finaled by Inter Milan and semi-finaled by Inter Milan. No trophies for season number 1. The Argentinian-only rebuild has not got off to the best of starts. It has got to be said. But in terms of some of our star players this season, I was really, really impressed. Our signings in Retegui and Garnacho were both in the top 3. Di Lorenzo down the right was outstanding with 4 assists, 4 goals and a 7.04. And Scott McTominay in the middle. Of course, I've had to use Scott McTominay as sort of an attacking central midfielder. 5 goals and 8 assists. Then looks like the Napoli fans of real life absolutely love him. His Scottish counterpart, Billy Gilmore, doing fantastic as well. And in terms of assists, Raspadori was our highest. 11 goals and 10 assists from that right wing position. Barco on the left grabbed 8 and 3 goals as well. And overall, it was a pretty decent performance, but a little bit over-reliant on the striker. I don't know if that's because Garnacho and Raspadori are going to grow into the system a little bit more, and eventually our midfielders will get better, but I'm not very happy with season 1. And it's not like we've got a lot of money either. We have £30 million and negative wage budget to spend, and the finances here at Napoli are okay. We have £37 million in the bank and no debt, which is pretty good. We have, £35 million in transfer debt, but no massive debt on the club. So hopefully as we continue to play Champions League football, we're just going to get richer and richer. But for now, it was time to sign signings to get better than this awful first season. And this season, we had to raise some funds by selling a couple of backup wingers. Number 1 being Matteo Politano, and number 2 being David Neres for just 3.6 million. That did, however, give us around £40 million to spend, and our first signing is young Argentinian left winger slash midfielder Thiago Almada, who joins from Botafogo. Number 2 was half Argentinian, half American Benjamin Cremonese, signed from Inter Miami. I had no idea this guy had Argentinian in him. The fact he does makes me like him even more as a wonder kid, and I'm hoping he's going to be a superstar here. We then had to start looking at registration rules, as Argentinian players are counted as non-EU, of course, because they're South American. So we had to start bringing in some players which were sort of half Italian or half Spanish, and number 1 was Matteo Tanlogo. Number 2 was half Spanish centre-back Gaston Hernandez. Number 3, Felipe Sanchez, a youngster from Schalke. And finally, the loan deal of Maximo Perone from Manchester City, which seems like an absolute bargain given there was no fee attached to this deal. Our team, to be honest, doesn't look very different from last season, and given the fact we come 3rd and didn't lift any trophies, I'm hoping it's not a bad thing. I'm hoping we can progress in the fact that Garnacho's a year older, so is Retegui, and so is Raspadori. Our attack should be better. Di Lorenzo should still smash down that right-hand side, and Barco down the left-hand side. Given the fact we've got a brand new centre-back partnership with Borginio and Hernandez, I'm hoping we're going to be good defensively as well. Let's just see what this season holds. And well, it's going to finish in a completely mental way, as just 15 seconds into the Italian Cup final, Barco finds Retegui to give us a 1-0 lead against Inter Milan. But there is going to be many, many more goals and many more twists and turns in this game yet, as it is going to be an 8 goal-scoring game. Zielinski makes it 1-1 before Garnacho from the spot makes it 2-1. And it was a true ding-dong battle. Goals coming from both sides counteracting each other as Lautaro Martinez goes an amazing run to make it 2-2. Obviously not sticking to the Argentinian sort of vibe we've got here. He's going completely against it. Kremnaseshi finds Garnacho to find a great ball into Retegui in the middle to make it 3-2. And just before the half-time whistle and just after the half-time whistle, it becomes 3-3 as Pavard knocks it down for a volley into the top corner. And then for the first time, Inter Milan take the lead. Mkhitaryan down the left-hand side, sets it back to Çalhanoğlu. A great ball into Amrabat for 4-3. It's not going to be 5-3, however. It's going to be 4-4. And we are going to send this game to penalties. Barco finds another ball to Retegui in the middle to complete his hat-trick. Argentinian striker Lautaro Martinez steps up first and misses, which led us to becoming Italian Cup final champions and officially lifting our first trophy. And then I show you this screen, where we're no longer in charge of Napoli, as we've been sacked. Which completely and utterly baffles me, because we got to the semi-finals in the Champions League and won the Italian Cup. While we did come down in 7th place this season, we were 1 point worse off than last season where we come 3rd, and it was just a very competitive league. We're still in the Europa League next season, but we've been sacked. So I'm going to give myself the job back, as I'm going to have to make a brand new manager because I don't have the in-game editor enabled, and carry on for another 3 seasons, because that seems like an absolute joke. So here we are with back-to-back managers, both called Will Kempi XI, with 1 cup win and this guy with 0. And it was time to make our first signings as new Napoli manager, and number 1 is Franco Carboni joining from Inter Milan. Another very similar left back to Valentin Barca on the left hand side, and again fits registration rules being part Italian. And our second and only other signing this season was Luca Romero joining from Mallorca for £13 million. Consistent, decent speed, great determination, 5'5", and a very tricky little right winger as a backup to Raspadori. I am going to use pretty much very similar tactics this season. We have gone to full-backs on attack, slightly less overpowered than wing-backs, with 2 inside forwards and Retegui as advanced forward. Kremnaseshi, McTominay and Gilmour making up midfield 3, with Borginio, Ramirani and Mere in goal. Obviously, slight tactical tweaks because things didn't go so well last season in the league. As well, I say that, it was literally 1 point different to season number 1. If you guys would like to get though this save file or the tactic, they are now both available on Patreon, as I'm now uploading tactics to there as well, and tactic videos coming soon, definitely for FM25, potentially for the end of FM24 as well. And it's £5 a month and helps me out support wise massively. So anyone that can subscribe to the Patreon, the link is down below, and of course you can give yourself a pretty fun save to the end of this year. Now, of course, this season we are in the Italian Super Cup, Italian Cup, and the Europa League, as well as the Italian Serie A, where again we are predicted to come 14th, 13-1. But it is nice to see that we have much more of an Argentinian side now. Valentin Barco ticks the box, Kremnaseshi ticks the box, Garnacho ticks the box, and Retegui ticks the box. And then for backups, Austin Gia, Franco Carboni, Tan Logo, Luca Romero, and Thiago Almada all ticking that box. So let's see if we can finally lift the Serie A in Season 3. Well, first up, the Italian Super Cup, where we faced up against AC Milan in another 8-goal thriller, but this time sadly losing out 5-3 in extra time. And sadly, we weren't able to retain our Italian Cup either, as we were knocked out in the 3rd round to Salento. So as things stand, I would take this as a much worse season, and we got sacked last year. Now, we have finished in the top 5 and secured Champions League football this season, 1 point better off. I still can't believe the fact we got sacked for coming 7th on 72 points, getting to the semi-finals of the Champions League and winning a trophy. But this year, not winning any trophies and coming 5th, we're absolutely fine. When I say not winning any trophies, we have got the Europa League to contend with, and we'll see if we can lift our first European trophy. We do come 3rd in the league phase, getting off to a fantastic start. And in the round of 16, we came through the tough test of Galatasaray, 4-3 in aggregates, with 2 goals from our Argentinian duo. In the quarters, we were met by Mallorca, and it's safe to say us stealing their star player, Luca Romero, and sticking him on the bench has hurt them a lot. We won 10-0. on aggregate in the quarterfinals, with 23 shots to their 2. So we moved swiftly on to the semi-finals, where we battered Celtic 5-0 in the home leg to quite easily reach the final, where we faced up against the mighty Tsunami, and it was this season's new signing, Thiago Almada, who put the goals in the back of the net. Number 1 coming in the 50th, and number 2 from the spot to grab a brace and give us the victory in the Europa League final and make Napoli champions of Europe. Just not quite the Champions League yet, but the Europa League, a trophy ticked off. So I suppose a very, very similar position. 1 point better in the league means we don't get sacked. I'm still baffled, given the fact as well we've got a B- in terms of what the board think. I think they just sacked me for the complete and utter fun of it. Now, the good thing this season is many players got involved. Retegui 19-4, Raspadori 17-6, Almada 17-8, and Garnacho 15-5. Also, a whole host of assists coming from Valentin Barco with 15 and Lorenzo with 11, and Billy Gilmore in the base of our DM. 14 assists and 3 goals is incredibly impressive. The team is taking shape. There is green lines all over the place. It is just taking that next level and getting us that Serie A trophy. We've got £56 million to spend and 117,000 in wage budget as well. So maybe this year is the year that we do it. So it was again just a couple of big signings. Number 1, Carlos Alcaraz from Liverpool has progressed into a fantastic attacking midfielder. And number 2 was a star centre-back in Juan Foyth, coming in from Inter Milan, where he's had a very interesting career. Obviously was playing at Spurs, went to Villarreal, then joined Arsenal for £55 million, and then joined Inter Milan for £56 million. Had a very good season, and we've picked him up for just £32 million. And he looks absolutely fantastic as a brilliant ball-playing defender. So the signings both go into the starting 11, with Alcaraz giving us a bit more of that flair in the middle next to Benjamin, with Gilmore in the base still, with Foyth and Borginio making up our centre-back partnership. Di Lorenzo still going strong at right wing-back. Of course, Barco as left wing-back. Garnacho doing bits in that left wing role. Raspadori in that right wing role. But of course, something we saw a lot last season was Almada off the left, Garnacho on the right, and Retegui leading the line as he always has. Now, of course, we are back in Champions League football this season. We got to the semi-finals just a couple of years ago and then won the Europa League last season. Can we cap it all off and lift the Champions League this year? Well, of course, this is also the trophy that I want to win in the Italian Serie A. Now, first up, we get back to lifting our Italian Cup in another final against Inter Milan, and it was that man, Matteo Retegui, once again grabbing the 2 goals as we lift it on penalties against Inter again. And we did manage to tick off a brand new trophy in this season as we faced up against Manchester City in the UEFA Super Cup. Sorry, it's not the Champions League. Retegui makes it 1-0. They then get a lucky goal in the 6th minute to make it 1-1. But a Thiago Almada super free kick made it 2-1. And we lifted a brand new trophy, another European trophy. There's just one left to tick off, surely. Well, sadly not this season, as Inter Milan beat us 6-3 on aggregate and we get knocked out in the round of 16, but I'm still pretty happy with how things have gone, especially given the fact that we started this season in the Serie A in electric form, winning every single game other than drawing 2 in the first 3 months of the season, which of course led us to lifting the trophy on 87 points, a 61 goal difference, 27 wins, 6 draws, 5 losses, and the top goal scorer in the whole league was this man, Matteo Retegui, with 41 goals in 49 games while grabbing 2 assists and a 7.22 average rating. And he wasn't the only one that stepped up. Almada, 28 goal contributions. Garnacho, 27 goal contributions. Raspadori, 25 goal contributions, and of course Retegui with 44. Assist-wise, it was dominated by the 2 wingers, but Di Lorenzo with 13, Carboni with 11, and Barco with 10 was also fantastic. Big Ben in the middle grabbing 9, and Gilmore with another unreal season with 8 goals and 9 assists. I'm very, very proud of the team we've built here. Given the Argentinian-only restriction we've had, I think we've done absolutely fantastic. And the team was built, and we've won the Serie A from only signing Argentinians, which I think someone like Maradona, looking down on the club that he loves so much, will be very, very proud of. Which means for our 5th and final season, there is one thing to try and tick off, and that is lifting the Champions League. Now, for this season, once again, there was only 2 signings. Number 1 was a young regen right back in Rodrigo Vitale, and number 2 was Facundo Medina from Monaco for £42 million, which looking back seems like an outrageous overpayment, but gives us more rotation in the centre-back roles. And again, very happy with the team. Vitale actually coming into that right wing-back attack position because Di Lorenzo has left the club as his contract has finished. So Vitale, the youngster, is our new right-back, Barco at left-back, and this tactic is absolutely cooking. Let's see though if it can take us to Champions League winners. So our league phase run was pretty decent, finishing down in 11th place, just a singular point outside of qualifying for the top 8. So if we are going to do it, it's the hard way. First up, the knockout playoff round, where we faced up against Turkish giants Galatasaray and beat them 3-1. So it was round of 16 time. We faced up against FC Bayern Munich and an incredible 3-3 game to kick things off. That's the second leg. We drew 0-0 and won on penalties as Levi Colville missed the important one, which sent us to the quarterfinals where we faced up against Liverpool, lost the first leg 2-1, won the second leg 1-0, and then were lucky enough to win the game on penalties as Amada scored our first, where the last one by Liverpool by Luis Diaz was missed, and we move on to the semi-finals, where we faced Real Madrid and beat them 2-0 in the first leg. But the second leg was going to be more difficult away at the Bernabeu. We go 1-0 down thanks to a Billy Gilmore own goal, but that was the only time we looked down. For the rest of the game, we were unbeatable. Almada scored to make it 1-1 and give us our 2-goal advantage back. Carboni with a throw-in finds Kremnesaishi to touch it down. Gilmore intercepts, falls to Almada again, and Gilmore finds Garnacho to make us 3 goals ahead. And our 4th and final, a 5-1 victory on aggregate. An on-rushing run from Scott McTominay finds Billy Gilmore, and the 2 Scotsmen send Napoli to the final. As we are rebuilding with Argentinians only, the Scottish are the ones that get us there. And it was, of course, Manchester City that stood in our way. An early penalty from Retegui made us 1-0 up, but Vinicius Jr., 30 seconds later, drives to the left-hand side and finds Erling Haaland in the box to make it 1-1. That's not a bad duo at City here now 5 seasons in, but this Napoli side did not know when they were beaten. Raspadori, a great switch. Garnacho, a header, beating the front post of Edison to make it 2-1. And in the 65th minute, the 4th and final goal of this game, as Lucas Gordillas finds Kremnesaishi to Raspadori and finished off by Retegui for 3-1. And Napoli are Champions League winners here in season number 5. We've officially won every single trophy we wanted to win in this final season. 4th in the league, knocked out in the Italian Cup semis and the Super Cup semis. But what a season it was. Retegui another 39 goals and 3 assists. Garnacho and Almada also incredible, and assist-wise Raspadori and new right-back Rodrigo Vitale top the charts, as well as Franco Carboni. If you have enjoyed the Napoli Argentina-only rebuild, make sure you smash the like button, subscribe to the channel, and I'll speak to you next time.